Welcome back, and let's start with the horror, pure horror of Pick and Pay results. Yes, we all love Boxer, but we can't wait for that listing. But what's left behind is looking increasingly messy. Here's CEO Sean Summons on how the turnaround is going.
Well, operationally this year, clearly our first order of business was to stabilize the balance sheet. So we had to do our two-step recap program, which was started by the rights offer, which was healthily oversubscribed, 104% oversubscribed. And that was in May, so that saw 4 billion introduced into the balance sheet. And then the second part of that now, obviously, is the Boxer IPO, scheduled to be concluded before the close of business this year, which will see another 6 to 8 billion dealing with that, which will mean that at that stage, our balance sheet will be completely cleaned up.
David, the balance sheet will be clean. Boxer we like, but Pick and Pay, their operating margin was 0.147%. It's not an operating margin, it's a rounding error.
There are a lot of problems facing us. And I think that if you talk to landlords, you can see all over the country, they're reducing space. They're trying to get out of leases. There's no expansion. And the smaller a company like this gets, the harder it is for them to do deals. In the past, Pick and Pay used to bully competitors and suppliers. I don't think they've got that power anymore. They're still there in that, but I think I'd avoid this. As good a job as Sean is trying to do, I think the brand has been impaired to an extent where speak to shoppers, they're not going there anymore.
You actually put a nice tweet showing the actual margins of 0.178%, whatever. That's
147.
Yeah, 147. Yes, but that's what I'm saying. 0. It's scary. But anyways, I've read about this because I'm young. But I'm drawing parallels to eBay and PayPal. You know, eBay was pressured to unbundle PayPal. These guys also, they need the money, right, from the Boxer listing to sort out their house. But what actually happened is that everyone was very distracted by PayPal and followed PayPal, and PayPal did well for the next 20 years. Okay, while eBay didn't really do much, just stuck around. That's what's gonna happen to Pick and Pay.
It will be their ATM because they're still going to own 50 plus 1%. Yeah. They said at a maximum they are going to go down to they're not going to go down more than 50 plus 1%. Okay. So that cash flow will keep on coming through, and the valuation uptick from a Boxer listing, because I do think it's going to trade at a really lacquer multiple, I think will certainly help Pick and Pay investors.
But you're getting shares.
But it's
I'm getting
but the actual
I'm not allowed to apply.
Not you personally.
But the Pick and Pay,
trying to hustle in on this one.
Yeah, but the actual Pick and Pay share price is going to be for a really long time.
And it's the Pick and Pay operation.
Now we want the Boxer share.
So bright to really blow your mind. eBay also owned Skype for a while.
Oh, wow.
8 billion for Skype, which they then sold to Microsoft.
Renen
put out a terse statement about a tiff they're having with the Springbok Solar Group, who are now claiming that the Renen rights to the helium deposits are not valid. There's no NASDAQ listing while this tussle goes on, and the results also show no helium sales and flat LNG.
You were fighting me about Renen. You were fighting me about Renen. When we were fighting, they were $32 or whatever. 22, 24.
Another 8.
The 8 rand, 8.99.
Chaotic. It's chaotic. It's messy. I don't
avoid exactly. I've never wanted anything.
And next, throw into that mix. It's junior mining development. I mean, you throw all of that in a pot and.
There are so much. If you really want junior mining development, there are much better junior mining developers.
Simon, myself, Julieta, we went down there on a visit. Betsy, sorry, as well. Yeah. And when you go through the northern Free State or that area, you see all the old buildings that used to be development companies, you know, the skeletons of what was, you know, and we're off to Renen. But I like Steph. I hope somehow, personally, he can turn this around.
He can, but it's long. You think Sean Summers has got a tough job. Okay, let's move on.
We've got a few.
We've got some more tough. AB Inbev had some 9-month numbers, and it's the horror that people are drinking less. Blame the hipsters as they drink what used to be Granny's gin.
When was the
it's you who drinks the gin.
Yeah, I drink
drinking beer.
You can't say that on TV. My mom's watching. No, I'm saying, when was the combination between them and SAB Miller?
2016.
2016. Since then, beer volumes have one direction, and they're trying to pay down the debt. The volumes are not going their direction. The turnarounds are around the corner. It's been around the corner, but we're not seeing it.
I think I'm starting to see glimpses of it.
Sure.
So
it took a while.
Yes. So I mean, we still have
positive or
positive. So we have volume declines still in the US. That's the biggest issue, right? Because of
That
the
was
Budweiser.
yeah,
thing.
that was self-inflicted.
Yes.
That
but
was
the pace of the declines
the
are
poor lady.
the pace of the no, I don't feel bullied. The pace of the decline is starting to slow, and then you are seeing some decent growth coming through from the South African market, which is still pretty big for them. It's kind of steady in Europe. Macro issues elsewhere. So I actually am starting to like it a little bit more. I think the balance sheets are starting to look a lot better.
Yeah.
And I think once they can...
Do you drink beer?
Me, yes.
There you are.
I actually enjoy a Castle Light, which is an SAB/AB Inbev.
Castle Light is good.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. The lady drinks
Yeah,
and has a good story.
and-
And
I don't want to hear your
No,
negativity.
it's not negativity. In America, they are getting into the seltzer market, which is
and
what's selling.
non-alcoholic and
Yeah, exactly.
But I think
Kids are so
ultimately
boring.
you have leverage coming down, you have interest rates coming down at the same time. Even if volumes are like just growing at like 1%, you're still going to get some really decent leverage coming through to
The
that
only
bottom
thing
line.
is that balance, that chart still looks like
I
this.
know.
It looks like the volumes of
Okay, Adcorp results. So revenue higher as profits fell due to one-off costs, and they still have managed a dividend even a little lower. And whatever you do, do not zoom out on the chart. Current price is back to where it was in the mid-90s, and it's 90% off its 2007 highs. Here's CEO John Wenzel on what drove the 4% revenue growth.
The performance that we put in, we saw growth come across most of our divisions. Most of it came from our contingent staffing in Australia. Our staffing solutions in South Africa also performed well. Both of those divisions posted double-digit growth over the prior period. Our contingent South African business, that posted flat revenues, but the market's been quite challenging. And then we saw difficulties in our professional services division. So most of that growth, I think, came from contingent staffing and staffing solutions.
So this one, Simon, makes me feel old because I remember the heydays of Adcorp where they couldn't do no wrong.
The 45 rand share ones.
Exactly, and everyone was hiring. I wish we could go back to those days.
Used to open the Sunday Times when it was, I can't say that yet, when it was still a newspaper. And used to go in the, the ads column, and it was all Adcorp, all the jobs wanted.
Yep.
In that. They were around this area as well. They were quite a mighty company in that, but...
I think that they are so tied to economic growth and employment in this country, and we've had unemployment increasing since then. We have had very poor economic growth, and a lot of their solutions are actually kind of aimed at the mining industry. And what has the mining industry done since 2007?
FMCG. What has
I also
FMCG
think they were labour brokers as well, which came under a lot of pressure.
And the rules around that helped them, but it's been tough. Here's one from Bright's Twitter, and I quote, Eli Lilly falls 6.3% after trimming its outlook due to slightly softer sales of its weight loss drug, Zepbound. Calling me confused here, Bright. I thought we had obese people and sales went up. Now you're telling me sales are going down.
No, they expect sales to go down because of production issues. So you still have to get those factories pumping. Unfortunately, it's not happening fast enough. But whoever built that factory for the fabricator TSMC in the US, everyone should be using that very same person because I've never seen anything like that from any factory. Usually when you open a factory after commissioning the factory, there's teething issues. No teething issues here, and actually it's doing exceptionally well. So hopefully they can get whoever is building those factories to build factories for them.
Now, Aspen wants to do some of these GPL, but you and David on Wednesday were not very nice to Aspen. Sorry, Wayne.
Yeah, because it's another one of these, and where there's always promises that are never fulfilled. Every year it's going to be next year, the year after, and we keep waiting in anticipation. So I think that was the reason. Okay. But it's a good contract if they can distribute it.
Gold futures traded above 2,800, and it still feels very weird to be making money from the relic. But hey, we are, and here's World Gold Council Krish Gopal on support for the rise in gold's price.
You're absolutely right. We've continued to see new record highs set frequently so far this year, nearly 40 different peaks. And what we can see is that you're absolutely right that the macro environment certainly has played a big role in this. If you look at the geopolitical environment that we're in and the unfortunate events that are going on around the world, the economic uncertainty that we've got, all of this provides a kind of a heightened level of concern for investors around the world. And naturally, they're looking for ways in which they can protect themselves against these risks. And gold has been a beneficiary.
You hold gold?
No, he doesn't look like a gold bull. You know, they usually have long hair.
Sean Summers looked like a gold bull.
Yeah, exactly. Sean,
Shiny cufflinks.
Well, maybe shiny cufflinks.
Hey, it's a great
That's
job.
about
it's a great job if you. It turns out they don't even do their own research. But fine, you don't own gold. You're holding some gold?
I have some gold miners.
That's a different story.
Yes, so I think that the gold price is extremely high. I do think that it has some support from central bank buying, some ETF inflows that still have to come into the market, all the rest of it, safe haven, wada. But a lot of the gold miners have actually underperformed the Rand gold price. As long as gold stays high, these guys are printing cash. So I actually prefer gold miners at the moment rather than gold.
Chantal brings a lot of intelligence to this.
Almost I mean, like sense. Like, I mean, I hold some gold and some
We're not used
miners.
to this.
We're not used to this. We've got to up your game, David.
We've got to do some reading.
And finally, ETFs are boring, right? Well, not anymore. As 8 got listed this week in New York called Battle Share ETFs. And the idea is simple, if not outright dangerous. They pit 2 stocks against each other. Think long one, short the other. So yes, Nvidia versus Intel, Tesla versus Ford. What could possibly go wrong aside from blowing your portfolio? But who needs money when you can buy Battle Share ETFs?
I'm going to quote the man who created the ETF. What's his name?
Bogle.
He says an ETF is meant to be diversified
and boring.
And the reason why you want an ETF is because it costs close to nothing to own. If it's not one of those two things, it's a hedge fund. It's not an ETF.
Yeah, but that's also a poorly diversified hedge fund.
Yes, this is a horror idea from everything. Do not try this in your portfolio. We'll leave it there. David, Chantal, Bright, thank you all very much. Folks out there, have a great evening and an even grander weekend.